Alrighty, there we go. Weird. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I don't know if that was YouTube or my internet connection. One of the two. Regardless, my apologies. That really, really irritates me when that happens. So, technology is great when it works, I guess. Holy seat up. All right, well, nobody's jumped in here yet, so let's hang out for a second. YouTube seems to be going very, very slowly. Oh boy, Christopher Townley, welcome to you. Yeah, this is actually the second time this morning, this early afternoon, that I have started this, and unfortunately, it just whatever reason the live stream just died. So for those of you that make it back this time around, I greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, yeah, so interesting. So, where was I? I also had just messaged AT&T to let them because I'm not convinced it's not my internet that's part of the problem. So, yeah. So, anyway, here and before it died, somebody had mentioned a young J Dog, I believe, who is a younger viewer, had mentioned his influences are bands like Rush and the Who and bands of that nature, and everybody that he talks to. Not everybody, but he was at an event here recently, and several people, I think in his same age bracket, told him that he's influenced by grandpa music. And I was saying that there's always going to be a generational gap there. That some the younger generation, likely there's going to come a time when they've never heard of Metallica or Motley Crue or when they are certainly bands like Zeppelin and Hendrix and that kind of stuff. So those bands are, there's always going to be a generational gap, and the same is true the other direction. There's some of these artists that the younger generation's listening to right now that I've never heard of, and I have no idea how they've gotten as popular as they have. So, but they're the longer that we go along, there's going to be more eras and nothing but more and more and more music for people to listen to and to get inspired by, from all different types of eras. So, it's not necessarily, obviously, that I hate to use the term saturation, but, there is an awful lot out there. And, if you can appreciate the history of music and rock and roll in particular, at least in my interest, there's certainly an awful lot to appreciate. And, the more that I dive into it, even as far as the gear is related, as far as the gear used back in some of those other eras, the more the more of an appreciation that I have. So, I love listening to, like old records of the Who. Some of those old tracks, Don't Be Fooled Again, is probably the one that comes to mind more than any of them. I mean, God, that was a great guitar tone. great guitar tone that Townsend got on that record, man. You know, and I think it was just, you know, it was nothing more than a Strat into a Marshall. You know, a Strat or a Les Paul. I'm not sure what kind of guitar he was using. Probably a Les Paul now that I think about it, but all kinds of stuff, you know. Pardon me. Sorry, guys. Christopher Townley says, I got an Ibanez RG570 MIJ with the 3-piece Babinga neck. Traded a Squire Stademaster 7 for it. Yeah, you win. You definitely win. Yeah, RG570s are great guitars, man. You know, they're you know, I think they're starting to gain a little bit more value out there in the used market than they once had. So, you know, those things used to sell for about, oh, I don't know. Yeah, you know, it seems like you could pick them up there for a long time for about $400 or $500. But you know, if they're up around 6 or 7 now, that's, you know, scratch off another old, you know, late 80s, early 90s, you know, made in Japan guitar that everybody's all of a sudden discovering. You know, because there was a lot of great guitars that came out of Japan in that era, and you know, now all of a sudden everybody's got to have them. So, you know, the same thing happened, you know, when all of a sudden everybody suddenly rediscovered the Charvels. You know, the Charvel, like the model, you know, the models 1 through 7, I think it was, and then the generation after those, which I can't, you know, those model numbers escape me, but you know, all that stuff, old guitars that came out of Japan were extremely well made. I've got a Model 5 that I love, and you know, I get offers, you know, people trying to buy that guitar from me all the time. So, yeah, no, good job, man, good trade. Ibanez VIP. I don't know what an Ibanez VIP is. Oh, a Geo. Okay. Yeah. Yep. The Ibanez Geos are, I don't know, man. You know, for inexpensive entry-level guitars, I still think you could do a lot worse. You know, for experienced guitar players, no, they're nothing special. But, you know, if it's your first guitar, you know, I mean, they play okay. Like I said, I mean, you could certainly do a lot worse. You could certainly do a lot worse. Ibanez makes good stuff, man. I'm a pretty firm believer in Ibanez. I like them. They've got a couple of models that that have my attention right now. I got to get over this cough. The cough is new. Last night, all day yesterday was a sore throat, and wake up this morning, and now all of a sudden it's a cough. So, well, I think most of the viewers that I had on here, we were up around 20 or so before the live stream cut out. And I don't think too many of them made it back. Of course, you know, it's Saturday afternoon in a lot of places. You know, a lot of people got to get going. So, I'll hang out in here for, you know, we'll give it another 5 or 10 minutes and see if viewership picks up. And if it doesn't, then, you know, unfortunately, we will have to call it a day and go back and do it again next week. So, Greco Vintage 76 Les Paul Guitar Center for $7.99. Yeah, that's, you know, there was 3 brands from the 70s of, you know, companies that were making, you know, really that were making Gibson guitars better than Gibson was. Greco was one of them. Bernie Guitars was another one that, you know, Bernie's probably my favorite. And the third one was the, I can't believe that name's escaping me. I can't remember what the third one was. And of course, Ibanez were also making, you know, they had their share of lawsuit guitars back then. But, But the Bernie guitars are my favorite. And, Ryan Bruce just bought, and he was over in Japan for something here recently in the last couple of months, and he found a Bernie guitar over there in a shop, and he bought it and took it home, and I'm a little bit jealous because those guitars are some of the best Les Pauls ever. Bernie guitars are fantastic guitars. I'd love to have one. They're still made today, although I think now they're owned by Fernandez. And I've not played one of the Fernandez, one of the current models, but I gotta admit, they still look pretty sharp. They look, everything I've seen, they look about the same, as the older ones. But everybody seems to want the older ones. John Sykes had a signature model back in the day. John Sykes of Whitesnake fame. His was a signature Les Paul custom style as a white one, I think. Those are awesome. Bernie Greco. What is that third one I'm thinking of? Not Tysco. Yeah, I can't. Well, let's do the Google. Bernie guitars, Greco guitars. By the way, fun fact for you. Well, there's Bernie Fernandez. Tokai, that's the other one I'm thinking of. Tokai guitars, those are awesome too. Yeah, awesome guitars. All three of those. Hey, yeah, Park made it back. Awesome. Well, our live stream actually died in the first one, and this is actually number 2. So, have not figured out whether or not it was the internet connection or if it was something with YouTube. I think this one may have been YouTube, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see. Christopher Townley says, what is your opinion on the Crunch Lab and Liquefier pickup set? Pretty awesome, pretty good pickups. My Music Man, I have a Majesty. My Music Man has the Illuminator pickups in them, which are another John Petrucci signature. And I think I was just looking at the specs of these the other day. I was comparing them, helping a customer compare them to. Let's see. I think the Illuminator pickups, I believe, are a ceramic magnet, and I think it's the Crunch Lab that's a ceramic magnet, and a Liquefier that's an Alnico 5 or something like that. One of them's got a different magnet than the others, but anyway, it doesn't matter. If you were gonna replace pickups in a guitar with those, you could do a lot worse. So. You could certainly do a lot worse. Michael D says, everyone have a good break. I sure hope so. Oh, boy. YouTube, what are we going to do with you? What are we going to do with you? Pickups. Man, there's a lot more options out there nowadays than there used to be. I even like within the big brands, like, you go look on Duncan's website, and, they've got everything they always had, and they just keep adding to it. I don't know if I can't think of anything that they've discontinued. They just keep adding. Same with the EMG. EMG just keeps adding. I guess really the same could be said for DiMarzio as well, but those you got those companies, and of course Gibson keeps adding to their pickup line. They've got all different, they're coming out with all these different varieties of the Burstbucker stuff now. you know, and then they've got 2-conductor of everything and 4-conductor of everything, and you know, then you got the, some of the smaller companies that are popping up now, like Bare Knuckle. You know, I haven't actually had a chance to try any of those, but some of the spec sheets that I've read, all those pickups are blazing hot. Models like the Painkiller and War Pig and stuff like that. So, so you've got you got companies like that, and then Park Kingery just mentioned Entwistle pickups, and then what else is out there? Then there's the cheap import stuff like GFS, and wow. Yeah, Michael D says he got a Gibson Nighthawk from GC for $700. My best guitar deal that I ever got, at least at Guitar Center, I think, had to be my 2001 Explorer, the red and yellow and orange airbrush flame paint finished looking guitar that I've got that I use in a fair amount of videos. That one, I think I paid, at that time, Explorers were selling on the used market for about $800. Now I think they're about $900 or $1,000. But at that time they were selling for about $800, and I think I paid $5 when it was done, when it was all said and done. And that was I did work there at the time, but that was not that was a used guitar, so that was not an employee purchase or anything. That was just a deal that I managed to make happen. So, EMG Lars Fredriksson DMF pickup set, which are passive. Yeah, I'm actually glad to see EMG pulling their heads out of their asses regarding regarding their passive pickups, because they had. There for a long time, about the only passive pickups I think they had were the EMG HZs, which are, in my opinion, are absolutely horrible. I hate those pickups. God, they sound terrible. And I think that was about the only thing passive that they did. But they also, now they've since come out with the, the retros. I can't remember, whatever it is that they're putting in the Schecter Sun Valley Super Shredders. Those are passive guitar or passive pickups, and those things sound great. So, yeah, hats off to EMG for getting into the passive pickup game again, or I guess again, because I know they've made passive pickups before, but they're far more well known for their active pickups. They did. Park says, didn't EMG make select pickups? They did. They did. You can still find, there's still guitars out there. Every now and then you find that, will have EMG select pickups in them. So, and I'm not real sure what exactly those were, if they were imports or whatever they were, but retroactives. I don't know, man. All right. Well, I guess judging by the name, are those active pickups? Really? Huh. Okay, I guess, well, I stand corrected. My dog's downstairs going crazy. Anytime she sees somebody walk by the house or something outside the window, it's her job to bark like crazy and make sure everybody else knows it. In this case, everybody else is me and you guys. Yeah, the only Sun Valley shredder that I have played was was one with the Sustainiac in it, which of course is active, and I knew that one was active. And I guess I just assumed that it was the Sustainiac only that was active. But now that I think about it, I guess the term retroactives would suggest active pickups. J-Dog says, I'm back now. What happened? Yeah, we're all still trying to figure that out. I think I don't know. You know, initially I thought it was my internet connection, but um, you know, initially I thought it was my internet connection, but I'm kind of beginning to think now it may have been YouTube. So, oh, YouTube. We have Jimmy Bowman, who is asking all kinds of inappropriate stuff. So we will put user in timeout. Let's see. Have you ever tried EMG single coils? Yeah, a time or two. You know, I know Gilmore's big on them, actually. David Gilmour uses those. I don't think he uses them all the time, but I know he is known for using active EMG single coils in his Strats on occasion. You know, EMG make great pickups. You know, I don't like everything that they've ever put out, but you know, I mean, generally speaking, they know what they're doing. They're actually pretty unique. You know, most of them are, you know, the ones with the solid black covers on them. Those things don't have any windings on them. You know, those are just magnets. So, you know, they're actually a pretty unique design. Yeah, Fishman's gotten into the pickup game recently. You know, their Fluence pickups have, you know, really taken off. There's a lot of people that have a lot of good things to say about those. And as a matter of fact, one of the reasons I mentioned earlier that there's an Ibanez guitar too that I've got my eye on, and one of the reasons why is because it's got the Fishman Fluence pickups in them, and I haven't had a chance to play those yet. So, you know, hopefully one day. You know, I got a feeling I would really, really like those. Let's see. Yeah, David Gilmour set does sound great. Matter of fact, I think you can get those on, you know, pre-installed into a pick guard. I think is actually how they sell those. So they sell the pickups and the pick guard. All you gotta do is screw it on and hook up the input. Stone Profits says I've never seen a scallop guitar. I'd like to try one. That topic actually came up in the comments section on a video earlier this week from somebody else, and you know that you know basically is the same sentiments. And you know the thing with scallop neck guitars, people seem to either love them or hate them, and you know they're you know the reason why a lot of people don't like them is because if you just because of the nature of them. You know, if you think about it, you know, you've got let's see, how can I describe this? You know, if you, you know, think of this piece of paper as your fretboard, or this, you know, whatever this thing is I'm holding, as your fretboard. And, you know, here is your fret. So when you push down on the string, which would be my finger, you know, it goes right there down to the wood, and that's all you get. With a scallop board, on the other hand, though, now it's a lot wide. It's, you know, it's a lot deeper. So with your string, when you push down on it, if you push too hard, you know, then it, you know, you increase the tension on the string in that particular spot, and you can pull the guitar out of tune. So, you know, if you're a heavy-handed guitar player on your left hand, scallop fretboards generally are not, probably not going to be for you. But you know, if you got a you got a lighter touch and you don't grab chords and notes and all that stuff very hard, then you might like them. You know, I know a lot of people that you know they're afraid. You know, the thing that they don't like about, you know, they really do actually like scallop guitars, but they don't want to get one because then they're afraid they're going to want all of their guitars to play that way. So. Pardon me. With scallop frets, I guess you don't need to worry about how tall your frets are. Yeah, I suppose. I suppose there is some that could be the case. You know, I mean, essentially, you know, your frets are the fretboard in that instance. You know, of course, Yngwie's played nothing but scallop fretboards for most of his career. You know, when you're playing that fast, He's learned how to, and part of his technique, part of where his speed comes from is, his touch. And, he's got such a fast, light touch, because he's never there long. He's never in one spot very often. That's why Scallop Fretboards work for him as well as they do. So, I like Scallop Fretboards. I've actually always wanted an Ingve Strat for that reason. But, those guitars also aren't cheap. Matter of fact, that's really about the only guitar I can think of that's got scallop frets all the way up. I know the gems, Steve Vai's signature model, one of the upper end ones anyway, like the last four frets, on the high end of the neck. I know those are scalloped on his guitar, but that's it. John Gilly has joined the fray with us, or says he finally made it or made it back. I'm not sure which, because we cut out earlier. That was fun. And by fun, I mean none at all. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, no. Well, it seems like that's Michael D says Herman Lee's signature has the highest 4-fret scallop too, and that kind of seems to be a thing with not all of them, but a lot of Ibanez artists. A lot of the Ibanez players like the last 4 frets scallop for some reason. So that's, I don't know if that's something that they offer, that they offer their artists, or how that works. I don't know, but. Or it could be that Herman Lee was playing a gem before they designed his guitar, and he said, "I want that too." Christopher Townley says, went on a guitar website today, saw that they had a seller listing fake Les Paul Customs for $300. Well, at least he's not, at least he's selling them for about what they're worth. And, he's not trying to pass them off for, real ones that would sell for 10 times that. J-Dog says, I don't even use the last 4 frets. I rarely do either. There's no money past the 5th fret. Ask anybody in Nashville. They will all tell you there is no money past the 5th fret. And that's what those guys care about. Yeah, well, as long as they're selling them as fake and not selling them as used, or not selling them as real ones, I don't know. I don't have much of a problem with it. Like, as long as they're properly represented. So it sounds like they're a bit overpriced, but yeah, Park is correct. A lot of those websites are, you got to be careful. I was a guitar group that I'm in on Facebook. I had found. I posted in that group. I found something that was, I don't even remember what the guitar was now. It was like a Ibanez or something. But I mean, it was an Ibanez that was insanely cheap. This guitar should have sold for 6 or 8 times more than what this one was selling for. But it was from a real shady website that I didn't recognize and I didn't trust. Somebody else in that group, says, "Here, I'll take the risk." And by taking the risk, because it was only like $100 or something, it was, to him it was worth it. But just to see, so he went and got a Visa gift card or something, so they didn't use his actual debit card, place the order, and sure enough, as soon as he placed the order, within a day or two, the website disappeared, and I think he did manage to get his money back, but yeah, be careful. Most of them are just, they're, as soon as they got your money, they'll disappear on you, and you will receive nothing. And also your information's out there. So if you do decide to take a shot at it, make sure and use a prepaid gift card, and make sure and ship it to a public address someplace, like a UPS store or something like that. So, if you are going to take a shot on a website like that, make sure and protect yourself. There are a lot of shady people out there. Let's see. There's a YouTube video about all metal 3D printed semi-hollow body. 3D printed semi-hollow, interesting. I can't wrap my brain around that 3D printing stuff. Oh, great! Some trolls in here trying to spoil. Oh, we got a couple of trolls in here spoiling in game for me. Awesome. User in timeout. User in timeout. Alrighty. Okay, I think I got them all. Douchebags. Even the neck is hollow. I don't know, man. So they listed them as real, but they're real. Les Paul Custom was listed for $300. I don't know. I suppose that's debatable. Depending on the listing itself. Let's see. Yep, they are sidelined. I had to sideline phase douche 69. Seems pretty accurate. And XX Boom XX also in here trying to spoil my afternoon. Man. You should give people some wrenches to get those buggers. Well, there's not too many people in the chat today, so I can handle moderating it myself when necessary. When it starts getting, when it gets, you get a few people in there like that start getting out of control, then I usually, I'll usually assign one of you guys to moderate for me. James Toombs likes to do that, as does, I think I've got Dave R. and as a set as a moderator currently. So, for when he likes to join the fray, but there's not too not too many, not too many that I can't handle it on my own today. So, let's see. Yep. Yeah, I've heard it's spectacular. I've heard it's beyond. Matter of fact, I've heard it's beyond spectacular. I'm really looking forward to it because I thought Infinity War I thought was fantastic. The best thing that ever happened to me was when that movie hit Netflix. When that movie went up on Netflix, then it became. I was, in fact, I'm still watching it. So, I'm real glad actually that Netflix finally managed to strike their deal with Disney to get some of those movies on their network, because for the longest time they didn't. So, but I really, really liked Infinity War. I thought it was, everything about it was pretty awesome. Epic Gaming Movie says, bro, the Ant-Man thing is a meme. Why would you time that guy out? Well, it says right here in the title of this particular live stream, no Avengers spoilers, and it seemed to me that's clearly what he was trying to do. Stone Prophet says, also, man, I'd love to see you do a review with a Gittler and that Yamaha synthesizer guitar. Yamaha synthesizer guitar. I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I know which one you're referring to be honest. I'm not much of a synthesizer guy. So, that stuff's a little far above my head. gaming movie says it's not a spoiler, it's a joke. So, by the way, what does sideline mean? Sideline means if I feel that you are saying things inappropriate in the chat, that I can silence you so that you can no longer do such a thing. Yep. Yeah, Michael D, exactly. Put the trolls in timeout so they can't post comments. Yep, pretty simple, really. And if it happens multiple times, then I'll hit the block button. But I don't like to do that if I don't have to. But sometimes I have to. Park, you got a lot of stuff that you're planning on bringing when you make your way back up to this part of the world. If you think about it, it's not a spoiler. Well, how would I know? I haven't seen it. Oh well. Wow. So I am. I've got a couple of things here this week that are on the way, as I mentioned. A couple of. I'm getting into some cab simulator stuff. So I've got a pedal or two that I plan on demoing for said purpose, and I'm actually really looking forward to that because I'm hoping I'll be able to demo that from both through back in my guitar room, and again also out here kind of going straight into the interface, which I think will be interesting as well because I haven't gotten to do a whole lot of that stuff yet. So that I'm looking forward to. Of course, I always get excited and look forward to new gear. I think we all do that, but yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. What does sidelining mean? Here, let me show you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming, and yeah, I don't know this. Several of you have said that you really want to see my new recording series, and I promise you, I am there's going to be more coming. I kind of ran into a technical issue or two, which I'm sure is just something as simple as a setting or two someplace that I haven't figured out yet. But as soon as I do, I will get that back on track for everybody very, very soon. So please hang in there. Mike himself has joined the party. Mike Rohde is with us here as well. Now, let's see. Oh, the trolls. Mesa Digital Katara. Now I'm really lost. For those of you that just joined us, the Stone Prophets earlier asked me to demo a synth guitar of some kind, but he originally thought it was Yamaha. I don't know what it was, and now he said he was mistaken. It was a Mesa Digital Katara. I am not, I've never heard of that, so. Oh, so this. Here, you guys want to see something funny? Check this out. Let's do this. Nope. So if we go, nope, I need that. There we go. Turn the camera off here for a second. Then go back here to the chat. Gaming Thirder says, I would appreciate it if you would stop putting me in timeout. He ganked it. I didn't get a chance to. Apparently he keeps jumping on here with multiple usernames. So, I'll tell you what, just to make sure that one doesn't come back, we'll go bam. Oh, that's funny. Gotta love trolls. Alright. Oop, wrong button. Let's see. Mike Rohde says, Robert, what are your 36 this time last year? Got a defective unit. Got 3 defective units before I gave up on them. I'm actually surprised to hear that, to be honest with you. Hughes and Kettner generally make really, really good amplifiers. So, like, as a matter of fact, I've had a Grandmeister. Either the 36 or the 40. I'm not too picky about which one, but I've had a Grandmeister in my crosshairs for quite a while now. I haven't been able to pull the trigger on one yet, but I think they're fantastic amplifiers. I love their designs. I think they sound great. They're very well thought out and cover a lot of ground. They're I really, really like using Kettner. I've heard very, very few people that have had bad luck with them. Now the Tube Meisters, and I think the Grandmeister as well. I think those are by Hughes and Kettner standards. Those are actually a little bit more inexpensive, and I think they're made overseas in China. So I can see why there might be a defective unit or two out there. But that said. I've the ones that I've played, I've had real good luck with them, so I like them. I like them quite a bit. I thought, like I said, I would really like to have a Grandmeister. Let's see. J-Dog says, I have the Tascam DR600 Mark II. I get a dull hiss from it all the time. Could that be something wrong with my SM57? Trying to get it to go away. DR600. Let me look up and see which model that is. There's the 60. Is the DR600 or is it DR60? I don't think there is a DR600, but the DR60, however, I'm very familiar with because I own one. I recorded with that for a long time. If you're getting a hiss out of that thing, the preamps, if it's a DR60 and you're getting a hum out of that thing, I mean, the preamps in that thing are very good quality and have a lot of headroom. So it likely is not something in the unit, and it's probably not your microphone either. If I had to guess, it might be your cable. You might be using a cheap, inexpensive cable or something that's got a short of some kind in it. So I would, the first thing I would do is try changing your cable. If it's still there, then maybe try another microphone. But those units are generally pretty well built. So. Let's see. Mike Rohde says, now I'm interested in the TM40. Musician's Friend has 20% off on them. I'm still leery of them. Need some advice. Musician's Friend has 20% off. That surprises me. I didn't realize we had a 20% off going on anything right now. Certainly not amplifiers. Because they generally don't make that much money. Tube Meister 40. I'm looking it up. Yep. Yeah. No, they got them listed at $10.99, which is about what they're. I think that's what they go for. So, yeah, I mean, the good thing about about Musician's Friend, most of the large retailers actually, if you get it and for some reason you don't like it, I mean, you can always send it back to them. They may charge you shipping, but it's not, on a $1,100 amplifier, if you got to pay 20 or 30 bucks to ship it back to them, you might be out that, but unless it's defective, in which case they'll cover it. So no, I don't see the risk, at all. So, yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to pull the trigger. I wouldn't be afraid to pull the trigger. Like I said, if worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you can always send it back to them and start over. So, well, that's not. I have the ability with OBS. I can put what's up on my screen and share that with you guys, as opposed to and turn the camera off for a second. So, but yeah, what I'm looking at here in YouTube is probably a little bit different. So. So, okay. Didn't get the note. Yeah, I got a feeling Dave says he didn't get the notification until now. I got a feeling it's. Yeah, I mean, YouTube kicked me off. At least we're assuming it was YouTube at this point, Dave, and YouTube kicked me off, and unfortunately didn't. I mean, I was able to get right back in within about 5 or 6 minutes, but apparently they didn't. It was a process, and it actually took a while for once I hit the start button. It actually took a while, for it to actually pop up here in the YouTube window. So, yeah, YouTube is not playing very nice today. Let's see. 48-hour sale. Yeah, but if it's, you might want to look a little closer into that, Mike, because I'm willing to bet that there's an inclusions list on that 48-hour sale that they got, so it doesn't include everything. You'll get an email with a big 20% off thing, and then right below it will be a button, with a list of gear that it actually does apply towards. So, be prepared for Hughes and Kettner to not be on it. Just based on my experience in the MI business. So I could be wrong. For your sake, I hope I am. But that, generally how it works. So I very, very, very rarely see anything more than a 15% discount on higher ticket items. Guitars, amps, stuff like that. There's just not that much money in that stuff. People seem to think that Guitar Center's making all this profit on all this gear that they're selling. They're not. They're lucky to make 30% on anything, and by the time they get done paying their their business expenses after they sell something, payroll, et cetera, all the expenses that get factored into it, there's not much left. Let's see. Was it? Save. Oh, okay. Nope, you're right. You are mistaken. You are mistaken. Save with code. I see it now. Nope, I missed that part when I looked at it earlier. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, I'd pull the trigger now before that thing goes away. That's a good price on that amp. Mm-hmm. ever used a combo amp as a cabinet? I thought about buying a Joyo Bant amp and using my Katana as a cab. As a matter of fact, yes, I have. I did a video a while back on, I was comparing PV6505 amplifiers, the 112, the 6505 plus 112 combo, and the little 20 watt Piranha head. And for comparison, in that video, I actually just plugged the Piranha head into the speaker of the 6505, just so that I was getting a fair comparison between the two. So I've done that before. It's not ideal. In that instance it was, but lugging around another amplifier just to use one as a cab is, I don't, like I said, I don't know is really the most ideal thing in the world, but yeah, it can be done. And John Gilly's got to get back to work. Thank you for joining us today, John. Appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah, if you're, for home use, especially if you're not wanting to, to buy another dedicated speaker cabinet, you could do worse. Now I don't know what speaker is in that thing. Like you said, you're going to use the Katana, which are decent. I don't think they're high-end Celestions or anything, but and alrighty. Well, yeah, I imagine it'll be fine. So, one thing to keep in mind though, I mean that speaker is designed for specifically for the Katana amplifiers, meaning that those Katanas getting so many different sounds out of them. That speaker is designed with that in mind. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the more I think about it, that might not be a bad way to go. Worth a shot anyway. So, all right, fellas. Well, again, I apologize for the dropout that we experienced here earlier. Certainly was not my intention, but I am going to get back to my day here. I've got to edit a little bit of video here before I got to leave here in about an hour to go check out the new Avengers movie. So, for those of you that continue to support the channel, thank you very, very much. It does not go unnoticed. I'm very, very grateful to have you. So, yeah, here next week, like I said, if you jumped in here just fairly recently, I got a couple of cardboard boxes that I'm expecting to be delivered here some point next week. So next week we are going to have a couple of things to reveal and unveil and new gear. So anyway, so signing off. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will. New video comes up tomorrow, by the way. Don't forget to be ready for that, and it should be up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Thanks, guys. Talk with you soon.